I don't really look at myself too much, so I take the first second in the camera to like switch my hair up. Guys, it's your boy GRC. This is Crypto in the Morning. Yeah, I'm looking a little greasy. Screw off. How about that? Guys, we have a big one today, and I just work here. I want to remind everyone that I only work here. What Sam does in his personal time with his studies is up to him, but he brings it to the show and he wants to throw down. Okay? So Sam's got Cult DAO in his mind, okay? I have not a gosh darn clue what Cult DAO is up until this point. Of course, I can look it up, and Sam's going to mention a lot of things, and I've definitely heard some stuff from the meme coin community. But when Sam comes in here and says to me, like, very interesting on Cult DAO, I was like, really? The last thing I thought he was going to say. I thought he was going to come in here and say, I read the white paper. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. But see what I thought already? I already thought that. Yesterday, when Sam mentioned the word, in my head, this is real bias, real time. I'm a journalist, so I kind of have to think about this stuff. Sam mentioned Cult DAO. In the back of my head, I said, have fun reading for an hour, bring it to the show. You're going to call it stupid. It's the opposite of what happened. It's the opposite of what happened. Think about that, though. If I just let it go and I said, oh, fuck Cult DAO, screw off. Sam, let's go talk about stables again. But I didn't yesterday. I said, you know what? No. I said, no. We're in a bear market. Things are bad right now, guys. I have 100% confidence in Hex. 100%. There's whales that are dumping, and they're trying to see whose wiener's bigger, but then Richard's wiener's bigger than all of theirs. So if you just, we all know, the people that know how the OA operates, the people that look at these accounts, talk to all the guys in DeFi, talk to Wendy's, talk to all my guys, try to figure this stuff out. Access Live, everyone. You really get a different beat on Hex and realize, like, I just love Hex. Okay. I just want to remind everyone. Guys, we have 2 minutes and 2 seconds. I went out last night and got drunk. Okay. Period. End of story. I'll admit it. 3 drinks. That might not get some people's tip drunk, but for GRC, I was rooftop DC crypto stylist. We hung out. She's so cool. She's so awesome, guys. Nothing inappropriate, guys. Come on. Keep it classy here, guys. Keep it classy. This is Crypto in the Morning. And I don't kiss and tell anyway. So all the people in my DMs that are acting like a friggin' 12-year-old, like, dude, like, what the hell? Like, she came to DC. I went to hang out with her. Like, that seemed normal to me. So just relax, guys. Take it easy. Blood pressure down a little bit. Go wank your tinky if you need to, okay? Guys, we got 2 minutes and 2 seconds. If I have offended you in any way in the first hour and first monologue of this, I'm sorry. I'm a little bit off my game, but I promise you I'm a gentleman. Really, I'm not a scholar, but I am excited about learning about DeFi because this is the most comprehensive. This is the most consistent. This is the most amazing crypto show that will continue to be here every day for God knows how long. Oh, God, if you want this channel to fail, golly, you're in trouble. You're in so much trouble, okay? Because me and Sam don't stop. We're actually broken inside. We would rather sit here than have fun, which is really odd. Guys, 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Everyone, it's Sunday, guys. Grateful. We're alive, okay? We're alive. We're here. You can do anything you want today. You could come up with an idea that'll change the world today. You can go to the people that you have hard relationships with and try to mend them in whatever way is necessary. Guys, that's what we do here, Crypto in the Morning. But we're getting down to the deets. We're talking about Cult DAO today. 2 minutes and 2 seconds, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Young folks, you dripping on them motherfucker.
Richard Heart. Richard Heart.
Bought my Hex from the fucking start. Point one every day we mark. Bought my Hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Heart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hairy start. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Bought my Hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Heart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hairy start. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Checking my MetaMask moving. Look at the Hex, he is mooning. Looking at why they be choosing. Peter is why they be losing. Pull chains out and they'll get me a check. He's gassed up and it got me a mess. Remember the times he died collect. Hex, I been eating, I'm dying in the best. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this post, I ain't letting go. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this post, I ain't letting go. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. By my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hit restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. By my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hit restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Richard Hart. Richard Hart. Richard Hart. Richard Hart. Getting this back like a year ago.
What's up?
Oh shoot, song wasn't done yet.
What is up, bro? How you doing, man? I'm doing awesome. This morning, I actually saw a stingray in the wild with my girlfriend. We went to a Buddhist Thai temple here in Tampa. Got some meditation done on the water.
Free date?
It was a free date. Well, we got some breakfast there too, but it was.
But you know what I mean? Sam always mentions this to me because when I was dating, and he has really good habits with his like little dates and stuff. He knows how to make it cost, because you know you do things over and over, they get boring. First of all, boring is the number one. But you always say, I had this list. Back when I started talking to Sam, he said, I have this list. He might not even remember that I know this, but
that was a long time ago.
Free date ideas for you or for me, and then he gave them to me or showed them to me, and I was like, because I was saying like I don't have any money at the time, like maybe I shouldn't go out with these dates, and he was like, what are you talking? Like, you're human, like go for a walk. And I was just like, ever since then, I think that's changed me a little bit. I don't do a lot of that stuff, but I definitely do more.
So we try to. I do still have a list of different things to do, all sorts of. Maybe it's a hot air balloon. Maybe it's like going to this beach we haven't gone to. Maybe it's like going to this Buddhist temple place. But there's lists, and it keeps growing longer. But every month we like to like knock off one thing on our list, like go check out something on our one list, because like you mentioned, we get into this like routine of just the same thing over and over again. And
how do you keep the freshness with her? And I'm not saying her, like variable person, right? Could be her, could be anyone you've dated in the past. Yes. How do you, because this is where I struggle the most. Like, how do you make it, because you know I have such a dopamine issue. Like I need to rock climb, you know, like I want it to feel crazy. I want it to feel, not necessarily with the relationship, but after a long time, my brain dulls to the point where it's like, I need stimulus. So I think that's a problem for me.
No, but that's a good thing, because think about that as actually a superpower, because when literally getting into the relationship with her 5 years ago, I was like, the only thing that I'm scared of is what you're describing, is being complacent and not having an inspiration to be passionate and excited and loving and caring in my relationship.
How old were you when you started thinking like that? Like, if you had to guess, because come on, you weren't thinking.
Well, when I was a kid and I'd be at home.
Family taught you.
Oh yeah, I was at home with there were 7 kids in my family, and I'm in my bedroom, and I could just hear my parents screaming at each other. And I'm like, it's like I'm supposed to be sleeping, and I'm awake, and my parents are screaming at each other. And I don't know how old I was, but I was like, there's no fucking way I want a relationship where I'm doing what my parents were doing.
Why do you think that you had the ability to gain perspective? Because, you know, some people like get hit in the face when they're young, or example, hit in the face, and then they're like, I'm scared of people forever. But other people are like, I will punch the next person that punches me. Like that was me. Like when people started calling me small in school, and I just noticed like that's a part of the social thing. Like, and I said, I don't want to do that anymore. I would like to change if possible. But some people just get fat. Why?
I think
why do you think?
So I think that like at a very young age, I felt like anxious about if I was sitting on the sofa and I was watching TV, I felt anxious. Like I knew that at a young age, that I was like, I don't feel good about watching television. Like I just didn't feel good about myself just sitting there watching TV at all. And that's one of the reasons why I haven't had a TV since 2009.
And I have not turned my TV on and I canceled my cable since the day I quit my job because of that.
Hell yes. But like in that moment, so I remember being at my dad's house and I'm sitting there watching television and I'm not feeling good about myself. I'm feeling like depressed. I'm feeling anxious because I'm sitting there watching TV and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I should be reading a book or something. I should be doing something productive than sitting here. And it was then when I decided that it didn't matter what I was going to do, I was going to be better than other people, whether it was my physical. If somebody was in better physical shape, then I was definitely gonna be smarter than them. If somebody was smarter than me, then I was definitely gonna be better physical shape than them. If somebody was trying to beat me in those two categories, my relationship would dominate their fucking relationship. I was like, it doesn't matter what aspect your life was in. I was like, I'm going to dominate this as hard as I possibly can. And I made that decision to try to like just constantly improve.
Jerry Oaksmith. Jerry,
Whoa.
first of all, Jerry, he has been in here since day one, Sam. Seriously, my first effing stream when I was by myself with nothing, no background, no anything, happy as a clam, throwing up biceps all over the place, which, I mean, come on. Some things never change. But, Jerry, I want to say for you being a family man, a good man, somebody that you see all this degen shit going on and you rise right above it. You don't even care. I love that attitude. Sam does the same thing. He's just like, it's cool. Like, I'm a leader. It doesn't matter. Right. And in their own way. It's like you could be the leader in your own life. Right. Like that's why when people get upset, like, let's say if you're talking to a girl and she's like, I'm worried what all my friends will think. And I'm like, I don't even know what it's like to worry about what my friends would think. Like, I don't even know what it's like, because if I thought about that, then I would be nowhere, because everything I've done has been contrary to everything everyone else has done. Period.
Yes. Yeah.
And so weird though, Sam, like for real, like in my life, like I'm just being 100% honest as I can. I could be wrong though. I've done every single thing the absolute opposite way that I was supposed to do it. And I decided to do it that way because I was like, I don't want to, I'm scared to do it the other way. It's boring. I don't want to, it's scary. So I just like ADD'd and like said I hated it. But like, but seriously, and now I'm at to the point where everything I ever wanted is coming true.
So what's changed? Were you more committed to yourself?
Everyone else. Everyone. There's not another person. It's not Sam. It's not Bullish. At the end of the day, I have to look in the mirror. And what do you want? Do you want trust in your relationship or not? You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
That is the answer to your earlier question about the passion and the excitement, right? Because how many times, and I don't know if other people experience this, but I'm sure that we've talked about this before, when I might be doing things like, say I'm hooking up with a bunch of girls, is after I'm hooked up with them, I just get bored. And then I realized this because that's all I did for a number of years. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. You were awesome. Everybody else, take a second real quick. Take a second, press the share button, tag us on Twitter, get this out in front of more people. More people need to hear the truth, not just in crypto, but in life. They need a wake-up call. So take a second, press a share, press the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed, and the bell notification so you can get notified every time we drop a new video. Now,
we're going to be doing, I mean, Sam, let's be 100% clear with the audience real quick. We are going into overdrive in a bear market, period. End of story. Me and you all day long. We don't do anything else. We talk all day long about this. I don't have to ask Sam if he's committed to this all day long. He doesn't have to ask me. There is zero communication error there. We've never even talked about it. I swear to God, we haven't. Like, I've never asked him, like, is there anything else you really like? And I'm concerned about a lot of the stuff that Sam's does, but never even that crossed my mind. I'm like, he's not stupid. Like, it's just like
we didn't even talk about it once.
Like crypto, like 2.5%. Like, it's just so. Just remember, I forgot what I was saying, but we are punching as hard as we can with this channel. I don't care what people say about, oh, you want to be YouTube cool, this, that, and the other. I don't think about what other people think about. I just think about winning. And I know people can say all they want about making an impact in the community, but if you have 300,000 real subscribers, that would make an impact in the community.
Yes.
So that's how I'm going to approach it and see how far I can get. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. Like, it's going to be great. And I can teach people the way that I live that I feel like has been good on the way.
So remember how you were like mentioning how when things really started to change for you was stopping listening to what other people and how they chose to live their life? So the same thing happens in like the relationship with my girlfriend, and focusing on those things that I do appreciate or that are special or that are unique, and constantly focusing on those, because the second I don't focus on those things is when I start to lose the appreciation for the relationship and for her. And so I'm always focusing on those things. And I know that she really likes to do different things like that. And even though I'm like, hey, I might just rather sit at my computer and fucking work, I always come out of things like going to this temple, seeing the stingray. I was like, this is the first wild stingray I've ever saw. It was like dope. It's on my Instagram. If you want to check it out, link down below, Instagram stories. But seeing that stuff, I always come out more valuable as a person just through the experience, but also it deepens the relationship. So when you're in a relationship or you're doing those things, constantly going through and cultivating the relationship, whether it is doing unique things every once in a while, or maybe it's role playing. I don't know. There's like so many different ways to go through and keep the energy flowing in a positive direction. You know,
there's like 1,000 ways to do things positively and like 2 ways to do them negatively.
Everybody focuses on those negative things.
Well, think about it. It's like, man, that one girl doesn't like me at the gym that no one cares about. No one cares about me or anything that I'm doing, but I'm going to let that ruin the next 6 months of my life. And people don't think about it because they're stuck in their mind. They're not looking at themselves as a human vessel. I don't look at myself as like, you're gym rat. No, I'm just a human. I got lucky as fuck, okay? And I'm here. And I know that this thing doesn't always run on my watch. It just kind of does whatever it was made to do a little bit. So I have to think about it. They gave me consciousness so I could think about that, right? And I can calm myself down. That's why when I always talk to others, I always say, the first thing I say, anyone I talk to, I know my perspective might be off here, but I do every time, don't I? Because I want them to know that there's human error involved. But what do other people do? I'm right about this. I immediately know they're wrong, because you can't be really right in this world anymore, because you know what I mean? You can be right, but like in a nuance.
Well, the only way you're right is from your perspective, which is perfectly fine.
I know, but again, you just want to be, you don't want it to, you want to be just open-minded, I think is the word.
Yes.
I think open-mindedness is the key. Like, when Sam says something that triggers my brain to think crazy, that doesn't mean it's crazy. It just doesn't, but it could be crazy, right? Like, that's the double back there. So I have to work on that with myself. Like, I get amped up about the stuff I'm passionate about. So I sometimes forget about the stuff that I'm not passionate about, but they still have equal value in real life. So
no, I get it, dude.
Let's get into Cult DAO. We had a good little powwow this morning so far.
Well, let's get a little preview here of Cult.
Please.
Because
and remember, I don't know what this is. I've heard it numerous times. I've used the hashtag. You come at me as a little bit of a teacher here.
Well, so let's get into how I actually learned about it. First, I got a message from a buddy of mine, and he was like, before this came out, because it's only been out for a couple of weeks, and he's like, hey, have you heard about Cult? He's like, you should read the manifesto. And he was very like passionate about it. I was like, that's kind of interesting. And then we started seeing it all over Twitter, right? You started seeing like that anonymity face or whatever it is, the V for Vendetta type of face out there. And it started coming up everywhere. And I was like, oh, I'll get into this. And I just kept seeing it come up over and over. You're not human. Is that what that comment said? You're muted.
Yes. I'm going to read some comments while you're going, like very lightly. So just please keep going. And I'm paying 100% attention to what you're saying.
Cool. You want to say hi to the chat real quick? We're gonna.
Yeah, I did real quick.
We're gonna talk about Cult in a second.
Yeah, and again, guys, this is a show. First 30 minutes, we like to introduce everything, go through it. We're trying to get a little more structured, because I do at some point. Sam works so hard here that I'd like to be able to clip it out so I can just give it to him. You know, like, or we could. It might be easier for him, but we're just practicing right now. So thanks for everyone being here too. Cult DAO Telegram. Hey, if what's the Moon Boy's name? Moon King. Me and him have been DMing a little bit, so I'll tell him to anyone in that Cult Telegram, tell him to bring Bullish back. If you're dumping Bullish from a Telegram, you're stupid. It's just Value City Central. Trustless Yield. Love the name. Bit Finesse. I mean, come on. Thanks for being in here. Thoss Child. Great to see you. CP, Don, everyone, make sure you're sharing this and liking this while I'm out. Easy's been all over the chat. Guys, you're loving these Sunday streams. Flat Earth Underground. We all know it's flat. We all know it. Bugs, great to see you in here. I think I've seen Bugs in here a couple of times. Wild SJ, great to see you in here.
What up?
Lyle Height. Big spiritual changes happen every 7 years. Think about it. All major things dude, that is just about right in my life for sure. You lost Da Vinci, bullish on Cult. Pretty cool.
Hey, anybody who is in real quick, anybody who's in the Cult Telegram, take a second and share this out in the Cult Telegram. Let's correct anything that I might miss or might like say wrong about.
Is it fair to say me and you both have $0 invested?
It is fair to say that we have $0 invested. Zero.
So do I. $0 as well.
Just to make sure, I forgot people. Just so you know, because I literally forget that people get paid to do stuff for like that. But Colt probably does actually do that. But I'm not saying it's a shit coin because just because a marketing tactic doesn't mean software,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
I love crypto.
I do too. It's
it's like the perfect thing for your brain.
It's fantastic. I like crypto is so cool in so many different ways. Like and it's we're so early on this journey. Like we're going down into the depth of like the earth, so to speak, and we're just past like where the sunlight is like starting to see us because we're really deep. And if you try to talk to like a normie about what we're talking about, it's like you're speaking a foreign language, but this goes deeper and deeper, and it's going to be really, really impactful on the world. So did you have any more comments?
For a shout out to RH Max. I'm going on his show Tuesday. He says, I want to figure out how you got that body. I'll tell you exactly how I got that body and more Tuesday on RH Max's channel. Great to see you, RH Max.
RH Max, that's good. Okay, so the Cult DAO starts out by going through and talking about a lot of what has happened over the last 36 months.
This is awesome.
It really, he, she, the authors, whoever they are, they touch on the things that are taking place in society right now. People feeling desperate and depressed, the feeling like they can't get their voice out. There's a lot of weak people who they want to speak up, they want to raise their voice, they want to impact the world, and then they just get censored. And they get put down and they get put into the corner and said, you're a bad boy. You're a bad boy. You're not allowed to speak out about what you don't believe in. And he gets into this. He also gets into I say he, but it might be a she. He gets into the aspect around pharmaceutical drugs. And I'm like, wow, whoever wrote this.
Hold on a second. So this guy cares enough about whatever he's doing, whatever project this is for him, to go into serious things that actually are true in your opinion, probably on here that maybe have value, real value.
Tremendous. And to the point where it's like, I thought it was going to, I didn't really.
Were you shocked? Were you shocked?
I was shocked. I was like, holy crap, this person is literally paying attention to society right now. Like the stuff that's going on with Big Pharma and just medicating people instead of actually solving their problems. And the stuff related to censorship and the stuff related to people being like, feeling like desperate or like not sure how to speak out and not sure how to like impact the world and just existing. And you can break out of that. And this in its simplest form, if you say Cult DAO, what is that? It is a venture fund to fund three specific things: decreasing centralization, increasing decentralization, so just a negative versus a positive way of framing something, and noble causes. So you're like, okay, another VC fund to raise money to fund these three things, right? You're like, okay, that's kind of cool. But when we hear about DAOs, we hear about, at least I do, from my understanding, we hear about problems. What are some problems that you guys hear about in the comments or GRC? What are some problems that you hear about in terms of a DAO being out there? Like,
well, incentive structure. Let's be honest here. At the end of anything, there's going to be an incentive structure, and there's going to be people. Like I always like let's put Motley in an example. The way that he would think and monitor what he was doing would be a little different from me because he has way more economic mass within the system. And even if we were both like voting members, he'd have so much more mass than me, then it wouldn't make a difference because at the end, wow, you got banned from the Cult. $100 super chat by Bitfinesse. Got banned by the Cult DAO Telegram as well. I said I liked what I'm hearing in them and they should consider bridging PulseX back. I posted the link to the stream and insta-banned. Someone else try, but don't post the link to the stream in their Telegram. Great stream, guys. Yeah, go flood their Telegram. Flood their Telegram with a biceps. Go just smash the biceps until they're like, who are these guys? And then get Bullish back in there right away. If Bullish isn't back in there by the end of the show, I'm nuking Cult DAO like I did Terra Luna, okay?
Bitfinesse, one of the things that you can set up in Telegram groups, which took place for me, was in the, I think it was in the Pulse group, the Pulse chain group, because I think I told you about it a couple of months ago, where they actually banned me from the Pulse chain group. I just shared something in there and then they ban you automatically. So I don't think it necessarily has to do with you. I think when I shared a link to YouTube in the Pulse Chain Telegram group, they banned me automatically. Like that just
anyone who's in that Telegram. I know there's guys in here in the Telegram because it's probably hit the algo already. So the few of you that know Cult only that are in here, go into that Telegram and say, sorry about the links. Can you invite my friends back on, please? Please do that for me.
Yes. Okay.
And I'll go in there and I will start sending shirtless pics on like so many shirtless pics. If they don't get you back, you're gonna get 150 shirtless pics until Cult DAO goes to 0. Okay, so figure it out, Cult DAO.
So some of the ideas, some of the problems, like the security issues, right? Because we talk about security often with DAOs, is what you just mentioned, right? I own a decent portion of the economic mass.
Say what you said 5 seconds ago again. You lagged out for a second.
The security is something that we talk about relatively often, right? I'm here because it's something that we care about. Yep. And you were spot on when it came to the economic mass. If I hold a lot of economic mass in a DAO and then you pretend like you have voting shares, who gives a shit? I actually control that. Think of PulseX. PulseX has a DAO, right? For the incentive token. Who actually controls that? Well, the OA does, because that's who owns all the shares of it. However, you can actually structure a DAO a little bit differently. Another thing about a DAO is admin keys, right? We talk about admin keys. That's something that's important, right? So I'm carrying these in and understanding that I want to pay attention to these things as I read through their white paper to make sure that this stuff is taken care of. Another thing is like, we know that you can do a rug pull by if I hold a lot of economic mass, I can drive the prices up by keeping liquidity low or flooding liquidity as prices come up and then yanking it out from underneath people and stealing or taking a lot of the economic mass of the system. So these are all the things that I'm thinking about.
Jonathan, thank you so much. Thank you so much for getting in there and helping with the Telegram. Appreciate that, brother.
Thank you, Jonathan. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. Appreciate that. And let me get into here because all of those things are solved. All of those issues are not an issue with the Cult DAO, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Very interesting. I'm very this is going to be a whole hour pretty much. I mean, we're going to have to go for about 30 minutes, right, Sam?
This is going to be good. This is a lot of good
stuff.
Guys,
remember,
you're going to have questions.
Before we start and get into the tokenomics, damn, my Facebook never launched. That's all right. Fuck it. Until we get into the tokenomics, guys, this is a deep dive. This is Sam doing a deep dive. He did a little bit of research. He's doing a little bit more now. We're going to talk it through it. This is Cult DAO, guys. On this show moving forward, we are going to be covering everything. Everyone knows what I have in my bags. The only thing silly I got in there is Pulse Doge coin. And I'm learning, okay? I'm learning. And this is a very popular topic on the internet. I'm sorry. It is. What the heck? You hit on the hashtag, and why don't we have that? Sometimes you wonder on other things. So this is good to know.
And later today, I filmed a deep dive into this, covering all of this, like on my notes and everything like that. So if you want to see the deep dive in a very structured way, talking about Cult DAO, it'll be published on my channel. So if you press the subscribe button and then you press the bell notification, you'll get that when it drops later today. Probably after this show, I'm gonna finish doing the thumbnail and get that out there or whatever. So
we have some Cult DAO people that are appreciative of us doing this. So biceps in the chat for the Cult DAO fam, guys.
Yes, don't rip your shirt.
Hey, before we start again, you guys know the cryptos that I love. I love Pulse Chain, I love Hex, I love PulseX. That's what I research the most. But when there's a dip of 90-something%, not the best time to highlight it. So you just kind of move on in a very subtle way. So for all my intimate fans that think I'm moving on to Cult DAO forever, like just realize I'm just learning everything, because I will learn everything.
And I don't think anybody is that necessarily naive enough.
You know me.
We're not. Yes. No. I don't think we're even slightly recommending this. We're just deep diving into understand this stuff, because I think this stuff's cool. I think it's
when it comes to finances, I don't want people to think that I am going to tell them to be buying stuff, because that's just not the case. I can't tell people to buy stuff. I can't.
If you put I didn't find that this morning. If you find the proposal and you can actually leave it in the chat, Bullish can actually pull it up for us and we can take a look at that. But
any links below, if you guys have some alpha, any links, anything like that for Cult DAO, please do it. But let's get right into this.
Cool.
It looks like Bullish is going to be pulling up the comments while we go. I'm going to be paying attention. So let's get into it.
Tokenomics. So what are the tokenomics of the Cult DAO? We're going to talk about the security stuff in a minute, but let's cover the tokenomics, because everybody wants to know, how am I going to make money, right? Well, so there's a fixed supply of the tokens. There's roughly 750 million tokens, right? So a shitload of tokens, and every single transaction, there's a tax of 0.4%. I think they could have probably used a better word than tax, right? Because so many people in crypto don't like the word, don't like taxes. Anyways, every single transaction.
0.4 though. I mean.
0.4. Yeah, it's not a ton. But think about if there's 10,000, 20,000 transactions.
Well, I always go to $1 billion of volume. Like that's like a number that's like, parabolic. If it works out, it'll probably get to that point at some point. So then we'll be talking about like 400 grand a day.
Yes. Oh, hell yeah. This is Cult Tomb. What's good? Hey, thanks for the people from Cult coming in here. We appreciate the support.
Cult Tomb, that's an actual picture of you. Absolutely phenomenal. You should follow me on Twitter and Instagram.
So, okay. Every single transaction, the tax, that goes into the treasury. That's the DAO. That goes into here. Now, from this standpoint, you have the top 50 holders. So this is going to collect money, right? It's just going to continue to collect money, The top 50 holders of Cult, they submit proposals for investment in these different projects. Like we just saw, somebody had mentioned, Croat, I think it was, had mentioned investing in Pulse Chain. So there's going to be perpetual new investments that they're going to be getting into.
$10 super chat. Love the show. Keep getting Access Alive to come on the show. Yeah, Sam, you missed. I got him on when you came on. You should actually watch that episode. He went through macro front to bottom from every single currency, like dollar standard for each country, all the way to Hex, and just, dude, it was crazy. That guy.
Should have back on again.
Access, please come back on with Sam. He
Please.
wanted to talk about self-help the whole time, but at the end I begged him to get into the charts, and he did, and it was great.
Scotch on the Hex was just, what was that comment again? Can you pull that one up?
Sorry.
The creator, I heard this, but I didn't know where to confirm this. The creator of Cult is also the creator of SHIB. So this is the person who probably has a lot of experience in crypto is the person who's behind this. Okay, so you get this tax. This builds up into treasury, right? Every transaction, the nest egg is like growing a little bit bigger. And then the top 50 people who own the Cult and they stake it, they put proposals forward. Remember, the proposals have to taking into consideration three things that the DAO supports: decentralization, reducing centralization, and for like a noble cause. So they put that forward. Then proposals can be put forward and approved without limit. They just will not be paid until the treasury has been replenished to 15.5 ETH of Cult. So where I got you where I'm at now, and to understand where we're going.
Can I read through it once myself and just really fast?
Yep.
Let me
Go ahead.
top to bottom and read through it. So
over here.
users transact Cult at a 0.4 tax and is taken on every transaction. Sam already mentioned that there's a fixed supply. It's very large. DAO Treasury collects fees. They're the fees. If you go to the right there, you got top 50 D-Cult owners can submit protocols for investments with investee wallet address investees wallet addresses included in submission. So just real quick, Sam, on that.
Yep.
What do you got? Just
so when somebody submits a proposal, like they did with, I think I pulled up how to do it.
When you submit a proposal, what you mean?
So when you submit proposal, you have to put in like 5 different pieces of the information. One of them is where the money is going to be going.
Okay.
You have to put in whether and I think I put the notes on it, whether it's audited, and you have to include the audit.
Okay.
The tokenomics of where the money is going to be going. So if it's going into Pulse Chain, you have to put what address in Pulse Chain is going, the tokenomics, whether Pulse Chain was audited, and maybe two other things.
It's okay. I get it. There's a list, but this guy here says top 50 wallets become guardians. Guardians can put up for proposals. Thank you for that quick clarification for me. That just made it a little.
Yep. Clear. Okay. So they call guardians as like the top 50 holders of it. Okay. And you notice how you said D-Cult, right? When we were looking at this. Whoops. Let me pull this up. D-Cult right here in the top corner. D-Cult is the Cult token that is staked. So you can actually stake Cult and earn more Cult. And that's pretty interesting because the whole Cult ecosystem is deflationary, and then it also earns, if you stake it, you earn more D-Cult.
Well, so that would mean it would probably become inflationary though.
What do you mean?
It depending on which one's more powerful.
Oh no! I'll show you how. It's actually it's all going to be deflationary. Okay. Yep, because there's no minting. There's no new. Also,
so it's just a fixed supply, but you get rewards based on the liquidity pools.
Or we'll get into the details of that in a second. Okay, but when you go through this, there's one fixed supply. That's it. It's always going to be deflationary. So you want to read through this, and then because then you can ask the questions after. Proposals can be put forward and approved without limit. They just will not be paid until the treasury has been replenished to 15.5.
Oh, I see. Okay, so how do they get that ETH?
From
the fees, I see.
But remember, if ETH is $2,000, 15 times 15.5 times 2,000 would be like 30,000, $5,000 or something like that, right? So $35,000 worth of Cult. So It's not ETH, it's just the dollar value equivalent of the ETH.
Gotcha.
Okay, you want to read through this one here? Whoops.
Yep. So every 15.5 ETH raised, if a proposal is or once has been approved, Treasury will. I can't the mouse. I don't want the mouse moving yet. My bad. Treasury will auto send 13 ETH to the investee wallet and send 2.5 ETH of Cult to a burn wallet. And then on the other side, we have proposals can be put forward and approved without limit. They just will not be paid until the treasury has replenished the 15.5 ETH of Cult. Right.
Okay. So the fees are collecting the treasury. People put up proposals. What should we do with this money that we're collecting? The proposal gets approved or disapproved, and then that money gets sent to wherever it's going. The maximum amount that gets sent out is 15.5 ETH. That's all it is. So 15.5, that's $35,000 roughly, right?
So that means the rate in which you earn Cult will just change and it'll just be the dollar amount is what Sam's focusing on here. Because when you're focused on the dollar amount, it can be a fraction of a cult or 100 cult, right? Like it just depends on the price.
You could earn 6,000 cult, right? Depending on how
Or
much the price is.
0.001 if the system's just whacked. And that's basically what they're telling you, is that the distribution pool is thin. Therefore, I mean, that's what it looks like to me. Unless they could change that. I mean, how many people at some point the rewards seem like they're going to be too thin.
Well, not necessarily the reward. If anybody uses it, remember the rewards are going to be coming in. If anybody uses this at all, if anybody buys it, if anybody does any transactions, that's where the money's coming from. Any transactions in the entire system that they're taxed at 0.4%, right? So a tiny bit more than a Uniswap V3 tax, right? Now you want to read this section here?
Yes. Investees companies sell their token for cult at burn and redistribution rate agreed. 50% is sent to a burn. So it says investee company sells their token for cult and at burn and distribution rate agreed. That's where I would need to learn more. 50% is sent to burn wallet and 50% gifted back to decult owners. So when they say, they kind of set you up for telling you what the burn and redistribution is.
So think about when I said that Cult DAO is effectively a VC fund, right? But there's no VC. It's funded by the public, right? So what is a VC fund? They raise money, and then I didn't see any reasoning behind the 15.5. You're nuts. Okay, question. So good question. So they take the money that's raised. What does a VC fund do? They take the money and they invest into startup companies, right? That's all this is doing. So they're investing into startup companies. Now, if I invest into a startup company and then say I get 100,000, I put in, a certain amount and then I get a certain amount back out of that, right? Because I invested in GRC's company, and then because I invested in your company, I get equity in your company, right? And then I'm going to go through and sell your equity on Uniswap. And when I do that, that's what this burn and distribution is. So I take my $35,000 and I buy your token. Now, how do you want me to distribute this? And it has to be within 0 days up to 18 months. So I invest into your company, or Pulse X or Pulse Chain, right? I get Pulse back. Now, in that proposal that the 50 top accounts put in, they say how to distribute this. So, okay, so say there's 18 million Pulse, right? They trade the Cult for Pulse, and now you have Pulse there. They're like, okay, cool. How is this distributed? So they're like, okay, we're going to do 1 million of it per month is distributed, right? That's what, and this would be in the proposal in advance that gets voted on, the burn and distribution, right? So now this 1 million at the end of the month gets out to Uniswap. It gets swapped for Cult, which means there's another tax there. The tax goes back into the treasury. Mm-hmm. And now there's a bunch of Cult. So now they take this Cult, say there was 1 million minus the 0.4%, right? So you're at, say, $980,000, we'll just say. I'm sorry, 900,080. So there's a $20,000 tax. You take that and you split it. 50% of it is burnt, and the other 50% goes back to the stakeholders. Do you want to paraphrase to make sure you're
I'm getting a little bit. I mean, I understand like the general concept, but I'm losing the nuts and bolts of it sounds like there's an in and out, but it kind of doubles back on it, right? So it's like the double fee almost enhances the system rather than. So basically what it's doing is showing you that there are two fees on both ends, but they all redistribute back into benefiting the system. Is that kind of where I'm getting at?
Yep. Yes. Correct. And this way, the idea behind this is to fund projects that support decentralization and to fund projects or companies that are going to reduce centralization and to fund projects that are noble, right? And they give a definition that the community is going to decide what is noble. Now, remember how you said that the economic mass, right? That's an issue with the DAOs, right? Because I completely agree with that. So how would you solve that problem? Like if I created a DAO and I owned 60% of the DAO, then it doesn't matter if you have voting rights because I can control whatever I want the DAO to do. Well, in this, the top 50 accounts are not allowed to vote. Think about that for a second. That is able to take those people who have the economic mass, they're not allowed to vote. That's awesome. That's great. Right? That is able to help solve that problem because they're not allowed to vote. They can propose ideas, but they're not allowed to vote. It's
So who votes again?
just anybody that is not the top 50.
Oh, wow. So it just does it a reverse way.
Yeah.
It's just like the absolute opposite way. A lot of these guys,
that's dope.
I'm not ready to talk about whether it's good or bad in the comments.
Correct. No, I agree.
Some people
100%.
have some strong ideas, guys. Remember, people had strong ideas about Bitcoin. People had strong ideas about Ethereum. People had really strong ideas about Hex going to zero forever. And people never thought it would be at the price that everyone's crying about right now. Remember that before you start thinking, because we talked about bias here early, Sam. And you know me, I'm always trying to get rid of it. Like, I hate it because it makes learning harder. So bias is bad. But yes, so far I see what they're doing.
Interesting. Right. It's interesting. We see what they're doing. If somebody's clear about what they're doing and we find it interesting, that's cool. It doesn't necessarily mean we're going to buy anything. Doesn't mean we're going to put money in there, but we do find it very, very interesting. Also, somebody had mentioned Power City. This is completely different than Power City. Power City has admin keys. That means they can take your money. They also control the bridge. It's not a good thing. I don't want somebody else controlling the bridge. Right? What happened to the last bridge that was controlled by Luna, right? Wasn't Luna controlling that bridge? I don't know. That just doesn't seem super compelling to me.
The bridges are dangerous.
And there's admin keys in Power City. You know what this project doesn't have? Admin keys. There's no admin keys. They're burnt.
Which, to be fair, is very rare.
Especially for a DAO.
No, it's rare in crypto. Like, everything has fucking admin keys. Other than like Hex and like, you know, it's
the only other one I can think of is liquid loans. In all honesty, the first thing, like I mean, just because we talk about it often and it pops into my mind.
People don't know this though. People have no idea what we're talking about, dude. Like, and I'm not talking about the guys that are in Hex; they clearly do. But like, I'm talking about like people don't understand that there's if you're in Cult DAO right now and you don't understand that a feature of it is the fact that not your keys, not your coins. They do not own your admin keys. They cannot shut you down at any time. We've seen that is one of the major issues in crypto, period.
Yes. So another awesome thing in here. So there's no admin keys.
265-year locked liquidity. Wow.
So the liquidity.
Forward thinkers.
Think of this. This is supposedly the guy behind SHIB. The liquidity is locked.
That's a rumor, but yes.
So correct, supposedly, right? Supposedly, I don't know. I can't confirm it or deny it. Like, I have no idea. This is just a rumor that somebody says is accurate, which I have no fucking idea. But the liquidity is locked, right? Because what happens in projects that are rugged sometimes, right? The price runs up and then the liquidity gets pulled out of the system, right? You can dump on people's heads that way, right? Because you're locking people in so that nobody can get out of their project. Nobody can pull out, and that the liquidity is locked into the system so that the liquidity is always there and there's no admin keys to change it. The developers can't change it. Nobody can actually go through and change it. These are some of the things that I was like, wow, this is a super cool idea to structure a DAO in a way. Oh, also another awesome thing. They had an audit done on it too. All the contracts are locked. The contracts cannot be changed, cannot be updated. Like, what do we talk about with Hex all the time? We want things like this. We want to. Now I have, after going through this morning and reading through their site and their FAQs, and then I read through a lot of the stuff a second time just to make sure I didn't miss anything. A lot of this stuff is why people love Hex. There's no admin keys. The liquidity is not right. The OA could pull liquidity. Obviously, we're not saying that they are with Hex or anything, but it is a possibility. But that's locked in place. That's been audited. The admin keys are burnt. The contract is all locked. You can't do anything with it. No developers can change it. Nobody can do any of this
The
stuff.
liquidity thing is the most interesting to me because that's different. Like,
imagine if that feature was added on to, if that was at that place on Hex.
well, I don't want to say it's the best feature, but that's
correct.
That's different, which is odd. Like, when anything's new or different, like when we're talking about liquidity now, we just had, so in Hex, for anyone who doesn't know, and I'll just splash a little Hex in here because I love it, is we had two major whales. Okay, Sam? So there was two major whales. And they got their feelings hurt. Okay. They got their feelings hurt because Richards basically said he didn't care what any of the whales did. He just said it. He was like, y'all want to do whatever you want, go ahead. And they were like, you do this, you do this, you do this, Richard. And he was kind of like, I'm just going to do me. And they pulled all their liquidity and basically sold 10% of their Hex. Right. And it dropped and we could be seeing another downturn because of that. That is not a feature. That is not a feature. But I mean, it is for guys like me who definitely like are going to capitalize. But like, you can't dumping people 95%. Although guys like me know that that's no big deal because I just watched 1100% run. It's not good for business.
Correct.
To say the least. But again, I know I'm excited. Richard might know. Richard, like we're all excited because we know the future, but like we're trying to help people here too a little bit, like I want to enrich myself and everything. But at the end of the day, like there's a lot of people that will never come back to Hex after this dip for certain. They're dumb, in my opinion, but that happens with every coin, right, Sam? After a 95er, like, come on.
It's so interesting that Cult is like, I'm going to say popping or whatever.
Is there more?
There's more on the page. They go into the.
Is there anything like I wouldn't mind reading like a couple of these just for myself and like the people in there because it's probably just a little bit of the. Let me read the first two and then we'll just see how it goes. So go up to the top. Okay, so frequently asked questions. Cult can be staked for decult. The top 50 decult holders are the guardians. All holders below top 50 have voting rights, and these are the many. What is Cult? Cult is a tradable and liquid token of Cult DAO. Transacting Cult will contribute to the protocol by filling the DAO treasury slowly, just like what we talked about there, to fund investment into decentralized technologies. That's where I get the most red flaggy, but like that's it. I mean, that's not so bad. They could be doing awesome. This is achieved due to the 0.04 tax on the in and out. What is decult? Decult is just a proof of stake token for Cult. When you stake your Cult into the DAO, you are given the decult. This can be swapped back at any time into the amount of Cult you staked originally, plus any rewards that were given to the DAO in the time period you owned Cult. Okay, that makes sense. What makes Cult different from other decentralized investment platforms? There is no control, no human interface whatsoever. We cannot change Cult. We cannot access the liquidity. We cannot upgrade or edit the smart contracts or the token. Cult is different because it cannot be stopped. Not by the guardians, the developers, the government, regulation, or anybody. They can destroy the servers, but the code lives on. The investment sounds like this guy knows a lot about Hex. I'll tell you that.
Right? Doesn't this sound like there's a lot of parallels between what the Hex community talks about and what Cult is, and it makes sense when you understand, when you dive into Cult and you're like, ooh, this is kind of interesting, right? This is like, I like some of these things. I like the no admin keys. I like that the code is locked. I like that it's been audited. I like the liquidity being locked.
They're paying attention.
Right. And then you understand why these two communities have, I don't know about you, but it's shown up on your radar enough to tweet about it a couple of times. It's shown up on my radar. Like, because there's a lot of similarities, it sounds like, in these two communities, people who like those two things. There's probably a lot of like opportunity to collaborate and grow the idea of safety and security in crypto. by these two, right? Hex, we already understand that. And what is going on with Cult? That's another iteration that's utilizing some of those extra security measures placed in terms of a DAO instead of just a token. And it's so interesting. So interesting. So there's another one that I'll pull up around the proposals, because I think you might find
I'll be right back up here real quick.
Yep. I'd like to hear what you guys' thoughts are in the comments as well. I'm going to read through some of these. Tax redistribution tokens have never survived, but maybe it's the exception. Not sure what tax redistribution tokens. Maybe not. I think that probably most of those tax redistribution tokens that you're mentioning probably didn't have the same things associated with them. Because if you look at 3 years ago, most of the tokens in the top 20 didn't survive, right? So you could say the same thing about any token, really, because the space is moving so fast and it is such a big wild west, right, of crypto right now, because the feverish pitch at which shit is actually being launched is insane. Absolutely insane. Like Cult just launched a month ago or something like that. I've seen 15 to 20 projects launch in the last 90 days. Think of if there was a company going public in the stock market and there was 15 to 20 of them going live, and that's in one community. I've seen this, except for Cult, right? So one plus Cult. I've seen this many launch in that period of time. That's incredibly feverish. This is not going to last, guys. This is not going to last. This is happening in every community, over on Binance, over on Ethereum, all across crypto. There are so many new projects being launched, like boom, 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 just perpetually. Like this is the time. This is the time, because we're at that stage where we're at that inflection point. I've talked about it 100 times. We're at that inflection point where we're getting into like the mass market. We're around 4% of the world who owns crypto. 4%. Where does that go next? We're going to be at 8 in no time. Potentially by the end of this year, we're at 8%. Think about that. 8% of the world population in crypto. That's 600 million people. By the end of 2023, if that doubles again, we're at 1.2 billion people in crypto. And this is not a country thing. This is not a geographically located thing. This is a worldwide phenomenon. Yesterday, we were doing the show. There's people in Australia watching. There's people over in Denmark and Europe. And there was somebody in Thailand and India. People all over the world. So this is going to be crazy impactful. The redistribution happens after approved protocol investment matures and they buy back the chart. I don't get that last part of that, Jonathan, but interesting. The top holder here, it says, has less than 2%. Oh, that's interesting. That's cool. That's good to hear.
Yeah. That's
I mean, you remove.
That's a lot of whales playing around, but what are you going to do? That's the market.
And you don't have, you know how there's a lot of like FUD and a lot of stuff talking about the character of the OA, right? Mm-hmm. For Hex, right? You don't have that.
Yeah, but
because they've been removed.
People talk, but they don't look. If you look at what the OA did, it created the price chart.
Correct, but you still have a human involved.
Right. Well,
I'm just saying. You just have a member of. The OA is just a name for an ETH address, right? So it's just an ETH address, but of course. But who controls the ETH address? But it could be. There's two things here. It could be the only reason that the crypto does well all the way into the future, or like you said, it could be the other way around. No, and we don't know. And there's that. You can only look at habits, but again, there's a button. You can press two buttons.
This button does this. This button does this. You guys know how software works.
And this this is like all, and I'm not trying to say one or the other or anything along those lines, but this, like, think of as transaction volumes increase in a bull market. This builds that DAO real quick. I think I have another chart to show you, and this is with their app.
The price chart looks pretty good.
Let me pull this up here. So this is the Cult DAO, and you get to see the treasury balance is 640 ETH already. They've already sent out almost 700 worth of ETH. So what's 700 times 2,000? Right, because ETH is 2,000 times 700. They've already sent $1.4 million of call out there, and just keeps, I don't know, it's a very interesting project, super tiny. It looks like the market cap 60 million so far, so it's still really small. But if you guys like security, things like this, where you structure in a way to make sure that people are safe, we're involved, and try to utilize incentive structure that doesn't just allow the biggest players to control everything as much, right? They're the ones who can put forth the proposals, which you could argue is actually a good thing, right? Because there's a lot of people who could put forth proposals that are idiotic that own one share, right? And you don't necessarily want that. But if I have a large bag, you would think that I have an incentive to at least act in the best interest of my bag to some degree, right? So that kind of stuff is interesting.
Yeah, just remember, guys, all of that stuff is amazing. Security, we love it. Decentralization, we love it. But at the end of the day, what do we really love? We want to make that cheddar bomb so we can have freedom. And none of this necessarily equates at all to price performance. But what do we know about adoption? That's basically where we get at here. It's like with the Hex too. It's with everything. Well, Hex not as much, to be honest, because there's a different kind of system in Hex. But in everything in general, you need adoption. So if these things don't adopt, so Sam, what are we talking about here? It's like how I could make a coin and it could be the best coin in human effing history. Let's say I made the best coin in history. It does the best returns, best fees, most decentralized, most honest way to do it. And I never marketed it very well. How do you think it would do?
Well, I guess it would depend on how you define best, because what
if I just tweeted it out once and just dropped the contract and was like donations till the end of the month and then just left it alone?
I mean, if it actually was the best, I think that
people wouldn't even know.
No, correct. But there would be like several people, and then that infection of an idea that you launched into the ecosystem of the universe would, as long as somebody's involved and there's more than just you involved, like I think that would spread eventually, but it might take a very, very, very long time without proper marketing behind it. And somebody could easily like crush it and push it down further for longer if there's not advocates behind it. And we do need adoption in anything that you're looking at. That's what's going to drive the growth in it. That's what's going to drive the prices up.
Yeah, and it's just like marketing, like it's just at the end of the day, how many people know about it? How many people are talking about it? How many people are doing this with it? How many people are doing that with it? It's one of the problems I do have with, maybe something like Hedron, for example, would be a decent example. Like, yes, Hedron is a derivatives product and it's great, but why couldn't they have just spread it around like wildfire, like these guys?
Well, because it's not like this.
I know, but you could still just like make it fun, like whatever. This is fun, whatever it is. I know, but decentralization apart, like they're fun, like it's fun. It has meaning. It has passion involved. Whatever it is, it feels like it has better marketing. Like
Cult?
Yes.
Well, who marketed it?
Shiba Inus.
Supposedly the guy who
probably the best marketed meme coin in the history of meme coins.
Right.
So again,
so if
and remember we had this conversation with Power City. No, with internet money. We were like, dude, everything is awesome with everything, but if you don't scream it at the top of your lungs and tell everyone, then what the hell's going to happen? Nothing.
Yeah.
Well, if you're like, this is honest and that's why it's going to do good, then go to a different planet, because that's not how it works. It's like, it's not about honesty. It's about price movement. And that's what people need to understand. It's like, it sucks. It's not the best. Like, I wish in a world that maybe that wouldn't be the case. Monica, I'm going to have all my paperwork done this week. I freaking swear. But,
I'll call you later too.
anyway, but yeah, so you got to understand, price performance is all that matters at all, literally at all. And it's hard if these things don't equate it directly to price performance, which we don't know.
We don't know yet. This is
We don't know that.
We don't know.
We're in the bear market of all bear markets. Everyone's selling everything for USD. So whatever, like, it's that's right now. But if you do look at the chart, which I have it pulled up, and I will pull it up, like, it's healthy. It looks great so far. But again, it's a year. So the guys could be ready to dump on your heads at any moment if that's possible. But remember, guys, I know I'm not saying no one's going to pump, but I'm just saying in general, that is the thing. Like, price performance is the top indicator of success. And we all saw that with Terra Luna. I'm sure their numbers have decreased. In the layer 1 system, at least, they probably doubled in the layer 2.
Price performance. That's yes. So I think that they're actually down. I think there has been some dumping in the Cult, but it's a brand new project. I think it's just out like a couple weeks at this point. I'll pull up the chart on Nomics so we can take a look at this. Here we go. Let's see. I think it's only been out for like a month. Had a run up. Whoops.
Go to the date.
Let's see.
Press.
There we go.
Scroll up and then go to 1 month on the little bar right there, and then scroll down. You fucking zoomed out of it. Yeah, back out.
Because there was a big run up in price, and that
I know. But please back out and come back in.
Wait, let me refresh this. There we go.
And then just don't scroll fast.
Yes. So
it has a little run up right now, but in general, like everything else, it's probably down 80% or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna just scroll back like this, actually.
Yeah. So I think.
Okay, so it started. Just did it again. Damn it. It's like a month old. It's like
get out.
Yeah. It's like a month old.
I'll pull it up on my end.
I'll remove that. It's like a month old. My buddy sent me a text about it about a month ago. I think I told you guys.
Like before March, it looks like we're looking at 324.
That was launch date 24, 324?
324, and it was much lower than it is now. So it was like that was very, very early. I'm gonna pull it up here.
Oh, that's interesting. The adoption is everything. I would have liked to see more. Okay. Oh yeah, it started at super low. Wow. What is that? What is the price at the bottom?
Here, let me.
I wonder what the return. Wonder what the yield would be in here. You know.
So look, you see right here, Sam.
Yeah.
The initial run up.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, it was timed up with the top of the market. Let's be honest. So you can't extrapolate all that information from that, because everything went down after this point. But if you look at the strength, that's what you're always going to look for, right? Your strength in comparison. So what do we always look at when we're looking at Hex? We look at the comparison to Bitcoin, right? How is it holding up yearly ROI to Bitcoin? And if you do look at the chart, it's holding up pretty good.
Oh, so I can pull this. I could probably pull it up in Dex Scanner.
I tried to, but again, I don't want you pulling up stuff if you haven't done it before, because I tried to pull it up in Dex Scanner too, and it was not. It was like, but again, Oh,
it looks funky. I see what you mean.
Yeah, it doesn't have the right pairs on there for some reason. Uniswap 24-hour volume about 500 million. Psi today alone would have PulseX market buy about 300K, and there's people actually saying no rush, no rush. Yeah, no rush, man. You got to make sure this stuff works. Come on. I mean, again, for people to have the perspective on a whole entire launching of a project seems silly. Like to me, like how could you know what it's going on behind the scenes of a project that's going to be the best, that's going to be a layer one that was built on a pretty brand new technology? Like no one knows what the behind the scenes looks like there except people that do that for a living. So what if it's like 100 things that he can't control? Like, like he's marketing. It sucks. It's a wait. Hex did the same thing. 14 months. Okay. Well, look at Hex. Look what happened. Do you think it mattered if Hex came out 6 days later or a month later? I don't think so. Mm-hmm. And maybe he's starting this at the bottom because he wants to. Maybe he knows what he's doing and you don't. I would guess that. Like if someone was talking to me and him, I would say, you should probably go with what he's saying. To be honest, when it comes to crypto. Because
does anybody really give a shit when Pulse launches?
They do. Yes, they very, 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 very much do. And I don't.
Yeah, me either.
Why? So you know what I'm going to do today? Go to the gym. I'm going to tan. I'm going to do whatever I want. And it's going to be fine. Okay? It's going to be great. Whatever. Shut up. Go do something. Go talk to your kids or whatever.
Spend time with your girlfriend or wife, or clean your house, or take care of the shit you haven't taken care of.
Looks like ass, you piece of crap. Go clean it up.
I've got plenty of stuff to do. This is probably actually a decent time to start wrapping things up. I am going to be going to the beach today, so that's going to be a blast. It's a beautiful day here in Florida. If you guys enjoyed the show, if you enjoyed the deep dive, also, what do you think? What do you think for tomorrow potentially? I was going to look into Omni Bridge. I don't know how deep of a conversation that will be on that.
We'll talk about it.
Omni Bridge is Paul Sachs's bridge. They took a fork of Omni Bridge, I was thinking to look into that or try to see what information I could also find about the Tornado Cash, because I know we've talked about it, but I've never actually done a deep dive into Tornado itself.
Yeah, we could do a deep dive on Tornado. We can also go through the test net on her cash.
We should try to do that ourselves without somebody here, because that's how it's going to be in real life. Like
I played with it. It's not difficult to play with.
Oh, okay. I have not.
It seems pretty easy. It's just like you just have to basically press different buttons, Yeah. But again, it's complicated if you've never looked at it, for sure. And then if you look at it the second time, it gets a little less complicated. And then 10 times later, you're like, it's kind of normal. So, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. My name is Jim Rat Crypto. This is Sam Stolt. All our links are below. We do YouTube every single day at 11 a.m. Eastern. If you watch this show every day, you will be enriched with value, body nutrition, factoids,
biceps,
DeFi alpha all day long. The best special guests in crypto, guys. I get the best special guests in crypto, period. End of story. The smartest, best game theory, most dedicated, most alpha. This is the alpha channel. And we just do it for free because we just love to show everyone else that's not doing it for free that they suck. All right? No, I'm just kidding. Guys, this is the way that I provide value to everyone, okay? And by supporting me, all you have to do is hit that subscribe button. For me and Sam, hit that like button. There's a donation thing below for the ETH address if you want to send me some Cult so I can be a fanboy. Just kidding. You don't have to do that. But if you'd like to donate, please do. We got a lot of stuff coming up, guys. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. I went out last night and had a couple drinks, so I am absolutely exhausted. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Sam, thank you for your presentation. Is there anything you want to talk about before you leave?
No, thank you, everybody. Follow over on Twitter. Trying to get the Twitter following up. Still have a bet going on. If I can get to over 14,000 followers by the end of July, then I actually win 50,000 hacks. So if you want to help me out, jump over to Twitter, link down below, press the follow button, ask me any questions. Tell me about any cool projects that are coming out that I might find interesting to just read about. Even if I'm not putting money into them, I do like learning. So appreciate you, brother. And I'll talk. You want to do an outro video?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do the outro, RH. Everybody, you know what's going on here soon. We're doing a 24-hour Pulse Chain launch. Guys, if you're still here and you're watching this, you just caught the alpha. Pulse Chain launch, 24-hour stream. I got to keep putting this up so I do not do it. But I am going to do it. Come on, Pulse Chain is the biggest drop ever. Guys, 24 hours. I'm having 20 plus guests on. It's going to be crazy. We're going to be giving you all the alpha real time. You don't think I got the whales in my DMs? You're tripping. Real quick.
Hex and drip, hex and drip. All a nigga need is some hex and drip. 1% a day, I be printing drip. When I get post chain, I'ma stick that shit. Hex and drip, hex and drip. All a nigga need is some hex and drip. 1% a day, I be printing drip. When I get post chain, I'ma stick that shit. 555, feel like Richard Hart. Forrest got a nigga eating off the main farm. In the pen with some pigs, in the pools with dogs. And I just got a call from the R2R. Thomas G, just that crypto talk. P5 prove he be in the sauce. When everybody eating, that's a real boss. Gotta watch out for Web3, there's a lot of frauds. Pulse chain finna change my life. Everything I had, I done sacrificed. Everything I earned, had to pay a price. Losing not an option, gotta make it right. Swear to God, DeFi be the way. 1% a day, keep the trap away. 1% a day, feel like celebrate. When I get pulse chain, I'ma celebrate. Hex and drip, hex and drip. All a nigga need is some hex and drip. 1% a day, I be printing drip. When I get post chain, I'ma stick that shit. Hex and drip, hex and drip. All a nigga need is some hex and drip. 1% a day, I be printing drip. When I get post chain, I'ma stick that shit.
I'm dripped down like the faucet. Gold was $1 million, yeah, I just crossed it. Sacrifice bread, I just tossed it. All weekend just got me rich and heartless. In the sauce making profit. If you ain't talking DeFi, then you talking nonsense. My own bank with a conscience. I ain't using no bridge, so I'm just gonna simple swap it. Just landed in my wallet. Sacrificing all this profit. All this pulse sex. My LP gonna print a check.
Hex and drip, hex and drip. All a nigga need is some hex and drip. 1% a day, I be printing drip.